Hi, everyone, and welcome to Fox 9 Sports Now. And we're honored tonight. This is a big time for having Lou Nanne here, Minnesota hockey icon. But what a weekend. This used to be your weekend, the state high school hockey tournament. But you had everything going. Gopher women, Wild, Gopher men, and, of course, the state tournament. Louis, first off, how are you? We haven't seen you for a while.
Probably a little tired. I just had a long trip with the Wild, 5 days. We had a couple games in Seattle and Vancouver, so I was broadcasting those.
Well, that's why let's start right with the Wild right now. And they've been battling injuries all season. And today they had an opportunity against a struggling Penguins team to pick up some ground in the Western Conference. But Sid Crosby got the best of his old friend Marc-Andre Fleury this afternoon. What do you see out of this Wild team after you went on that road trip and got to look at them up close?
Well, they're playing competitive. They're playing hard. They're playing with intensity. But they're not scoring goals. They're getting opportunities. They had a lot of shots tonight. They had a lot of shots in Vancouver. But they're not putting pucks in the net. And power play, you know, they seem a little stagnant. They should be moving a little bit more and taking more chances, screening the goaltender more, getting rebounds. But it's tough for them when you're unproductive and you're not putting goals in the net. It's tough to win in this league.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So that brings a couple of questions to mind. Number one, do you feel this is a playoff team?
It definitely is a playoff team if they get healthy. There's no question about that. You get three of your best four players out of the lineup, basically. And I expect that they will be back. I think that all of them will be back. I just don't know the timing. But even without them coming back, they're still competitive enough. They only have to play 500 hockey. When you look at the standing, there's 24 teams that are playing 500 or above out of 32 teams. So they just got to get a point a game on the average. And they're 3-point games because you could always get a point and lose, in overtime. So you would think that they'd be able to do that because they do have a nice little cushion, but the cushion's going away. When you lose a couple games in a row, other teams are making it up, but I still think they'll make the playoffs.
All right, and the trading deadline, of course, was Friday, and there's some out there campaigning that the Wild should have used LTIR, long-term injury reserve, for Kaprizov, an Eriksson or a Brodin. What are your thoughts about teams that have been using that as somewhat of a chip?
Well, you have to remember, if you'd have done that, then you really have to keep Kaprizov out for the rest of the year. And you want him, if you're going to go in the playoffs, you want to win a playoff round or two to move on. And to not give him the ability to play games before the first round, say, it's going to hurt your chances to win in the first round. And the only way you could have gotten a deal made was just money. It was, as you said, put him on LTIR. So I think that they made the right decision. That's a decision I know I would have made. I also have to remind you that they have to sign Kaprizov. And he wants to be back to play. So how would it be if you went to him and say, you're staying out the rest of the year so we can make a deal and maybe go farther? You want him in that kind of attitude that maybe these guys won't even let me play when I want to play. I'm not going to stay around here after I won't resign. So there's a lot of things that come into play. And in my mind, Billy Guerin definitely made the right move.
All right. Marc-Andre Fleury making one of his final starts of his career here today as it comes to a conclusion. I'm not sure Wild fans really understand what a remarkable player he has been, and getting to watch him close out his career. I mean, you were in Montreal for that emotional night when he said goodbye to his home province.
That was one of the nicest things you'll ever see in the sport. As you know, Montreal is like the hockey mecca, and they love their hockey players, and they love French hockey players.
Correct.
And they love French hockey players that are from Montreal, which he's right outside of Montreal. So they worshiped him there, and to see him with the kind of career he's had, and if you look at it, he's second in most statistics all the way along. He's first ballot automatic Hall of Famer. He's had tremendous success in the nets. He's probably as well liked a goaltender as I can remember in the National Hockey League. Every place he plays, the teammates all love him, the fans love him. So I think it's just wonderful, the fans here in the state of Minnesota get the opportunity to have seen him for a few years.
And they should greet him with a standing ovation every time he takes the ice from here on out. The Wild have a budding superstar. They already have the superstar with Fleury, but Brock Faber, this young defenseman, has been getting major ice time, Louis. How has this kid done this? I mean, he just went from Mariucci to the X without a problem.
Well, not only that, he went from Mariucci to the X without the fanfare that he's getting right now. He was a terrific defenseman in college, and they also had Jackson Lacombe, who's with L.A. and doing extremely well.
Yeah, the Ducks.
They had a great defense there. But he's got a lot of the attributes you want. He's extremely smart. He's very good on his skates. He's strong. He's well built. He knows how to play, and he's an excellent student of the game. So he's picked up all the things you have to do in a hurry, and he is very effective when he's out on the ice because he knows where to position himself, when to move, how to move. He's got good hands, good quickness, great skating ability.
All right, Faber and Matt Boldy, of course, were members of Team USA in the Four Nations tournament, and it was a remarkable display of what this sport can be like. And you played on national teams, Olympic teams. You know what it's like to wear the red, white, and blue. But did you expect or anticipate this tournament to explode like it did emotionally?
Oh, definitely. In fact, on a show that I do with Dan Barrero the week before, he says it's going to be like an all-star game. He says, Dan, this is going to be something like you've never seen. You don't realize what it feels like to put on your jersey for your country. And I played in the first one. I managed the teams in the next three, but they were always before the season. This is the only time it was going to be in season. So I said, there's going to be so much intensity and competitiveness there. The unfortunate part, there's going to be guys hurting out for the year because you cannot get on that ice with your jersey. And especially if U.S. plays Canada, I says, watch out because there's so much competitiveness, maybe dislike, between the two teams. So nothing about that surprised me.
Yeah, it was astonishing. And speaking of astonishing, this was the first time in 60 years you were not part of the broadcast team for the state tournament, but still a fabulous performance. Moorhead comes away with their first title in 21 years. And the crowds, 20,000, over 20,000. Why does this tournament continue to have such legs in a world now where there's so many other things to distract people?
Well, first of all, the high school hockey is so popular within each area that it's played, within each city, with each school, and so you got those people following it, and the tournament's become, it was always great, but it just continues to grow because the interest gets bigger and bigger because we have more hockey playing, both boys and girls, throughout the state. We got the most hockey players in the state of Minnesota of any state. In fact, outside of Massachusetts, you can combine 2, 3, 4 states and you can't get as many as we have here. And the level of play that you see and the tradition that you see and the kids learning about it, it's becoming the Stanley Cup for boys and girls that have the opportunity to play in this tournament. And because of that, you got the fans and the families and the whole state basically watching and cheering for one team or the other. So it doesn't surprise me. As you said, I started 6 years ago. I missed 1 or 2 when I had when they wouldn't let me go and I had to play with the North Stars. But
had to play with the North Stars.
Every year I kept looking at it and saying, how can this continue? And it just is mind-boggling, but it's something that we should all treasure.
Well, I think really to show you what an effect it has, I noticed in this tournament, and it's all across the state, the number of former NHL players now on the coaching staffs of these high school teams. I mean, it's astonishing. You have Thomas Vanek, Matt Cullen, Jordan Leopold, Kurt Giles, Greg Zanin. I mean, that really says about how this sport is played, because these are the guys who played at the highest level. Why would they get involved with something that they didn't think was competed at the highest level?
Well, first of all, they all played here and they end up staying here and they know what the tournament means, and so they have the interest in it as well. On top of that, many of them have their kids playing, so
yes, there was that.
And they continue. Zach Parise, you can imagine, he'll be coming into it pretty soon because he's coaching in Pee Wees now in Edina. He'll be going on that Edina staff pretty soon. It seems everybody that stays around here and has their kids playing knows how important that tournament is. And they are interested in being part of it and developing the kids as well. That's where we're so fortunate in Minnesota. So many guys stay around here, and because they do, they contribute to the well-being of the hockey product being put out.
Yes, no doubt about it. That is true. If your son's on the team, you will step up. I don't think they're doing it for the $3,000 that these coaches
No, I don't think that's it. Probably not getting paid, most of them.
No doubt about it. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll get into the Gophers falling tonight in the Big Ten tournament to Notre Dame. We'll ask Louis if he thinks there's a run in the NCAA tournament coming. Will they be headed to the Frozen Four this year? And even better, win it. And the Gopher men's basketball. Welcome back to Fox 9 Sports Now. Lou Nanne, kind enough to stay with us, and it's so great to see you again, especially when the temperature is below 70 here in Minnesota. We don't usually see you in this side of the border.
Well, I had to come back from Vancouver with the Wild, do my taxes, and I go back to my home in Florida.
Perfect. All right, your other favorite hockey team, the Golden Gophers. Tonight they were beaten by Notre Dame in Game 3 of the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament. Now they sit on the shelf because there's semifinals, there's finals of the Big Ten before they get to the NCAA. What does Bob Motzko and his staff do with this team for the next 3 weeks?
Well, what I would do is I'd get them in practice and make them check a lot, because I think that you're going into the playoffs now, and the only way that they're going to continue to move on and win games are you got to have really good, strong defense. And that includes not only in your own zone, all over the ice, the way you forecheck, the way you backcheck. And part of defense is always using your body. I think the Gophers could be better, make better use of their bodies than they're doing right now, and get your goaltending sharp, because every team that wins has to have solid goaltending or you don't win. And then you have to make certain that your team is playing with the kind of intensity that you need to win these games, because this is just like playing in a Stanley Cup, playing the playoffs, playing the Four Nations. You're playing for all the marbles here now, and you have to go out there with a mindset that that's my puck, not yours, and you're going to fight for it.
Yeah, and that was Notre Dame's mindset tonight, because they saved their season, or they would have been done for the year, and that would have been the end of Jeff Jackson's illustrious career. Jimmy Snuggerud has had a sensational year, a sensational career at the U of M. What is his future? Where is the ceiling for Jimmy in your mind?
Well, when you have the kind of scoring ability he's got, the kind of release he's got, the kind of shot he's got hockey smarts, you know he's going to have a real good professional career. St. Louis would have turned him pro this year, but a compliment to him, he wanted to stay and try and win a national championship before he left. And that's why I hope one of the reasons why they win would be for him. But he has got a bright future ahead in the NHL. The way he can shoot that puck and skate, he's going to be fine. So
does this team have the pieces, you feel, to win it all this year?
Only if they play physical and play a strong defensive game. You don't win without strong defense. You can't reach for pucks. You got to take the puck away or eliminate the man. You have to be strong defensively, especially in your own zone, because these teams that are going to be, as you move on, you're meeting really high quality teams that are able to score goals if you give them chances. And the way you give them chances is by not eliminating them in your own zone, especially. So they got to do a better job of checking. When they start eliminating good chances, then their chances go up exponentially to win the game.
Louis, thank you so much.
Nice to be with you again.
This is so great.
Thank you.
Anytime you want to sit in that chair, you let me know. I will clear out who's ever scheduled, because that is your chair. It is such a great honor to have you here again and to come in Sunday Night Live.
Yeah, nice to be with you.
We appreciate it. And the clock's got set back too, so that's a problem. Sorry about that. All right, when we come back, we'll check in.